afternoon. I'm Carol Nixon, editor and publisher of Milwaukee Magazine, and I am excited to be back again this year with our Give Back Milwaukee series. We've been doing this for a few years now, and it's a great way to get out the message from a number of different nonprofits around our area. We tell their stories, you hear from them directly, and you have the opportunity to support them either with your donations or with volunteering. There's a variety of needs that each of these organizations have, and we are just grateful that we have the privilege of helping them get their messages out to the community. This is the first in the series. Today is Give Back Tuesday. So we're excited to be here with you, and then we will be having it'll be recurring every Tuesday through the month of December. So, and if you miss them when they're live, they go live at noon every Tuesday. But if you miss that, they are archived at milwaukeemag.com. So you can tune in anytime, and you can hopefully will inspire you to be generous and give to one or several of these great organizations. So to kick us off today, we have partnered since the beginning of this effort several years back with the Wisconsin Philanthropy Network. And here joining us today is Tony Shields, President and CEO of Wisconsin Philanthropy Network. Welcome, Tony.
Hi, Carol. So great to see you and be with you and partner with you on this project again.
Well, you know, we feel that this is a great partnership. It certainly helps us get our message out, and hopefully we serve some purpose with Wisconsin Philanthropy Network as well. Can you tell us a little about your mission?
Yeah, so Wisconsin Philanthropy Network is a membership association for grant makers around the state of Wisconsin. So part of our membership includes corporate, community, family, health-related, and education funders throughout the state of Wisconsin. The mission of WPN is to promote effective philanthropy in Wisconsin, and we do that through providing research for our members. We do that through convenings and events around key issues. We bring partnerships together, we promote collaboration, and we promote networking. And really, the goal of our organization is to assure that the people that are working in the field of philanthropy are working efficiently and effectively in their work, and we just work to try to help them do that.
And are these people mostly representing corporate foundations, or who are they?
Yeah, so we have about 130 organizations that are part of our membership. And through that 130 members, we serve about 750 philanthropic professionals around the state of Wisconsin. So depending on the size of that philanthropic entity, you may have larger staffs or you may have smaller staffs. These are individuals that are interested in philanthropy, as well as people that are working in philanthropy as part of their profession.
Interesting. And what kind of questions and concerns come up for your membership, and how do you address those?
So we will address issues around a myriad of things that are happening in communities. Last week, we just had a great conversation about school-based mental health. We're doing convenings around equity. We develop convenings around mission and impact investing. We've developed conversations and content around homelessness and home ownership. It is a myriad of issues, but I think one issue that would be very in particular interest to this particular audience is we are consistently having conversations about the issues around nonprofit capacity building, sustainability, how to keep organizations afloat, how to develop plans for those organizations in a number of different ways, succession planning and staffing and remaining competitive and viable. And so we engage in all of those types of conversations with really the goal to improve and enhance the communities where organizations are making their grant-making investments.
I see. And I know that, for the last few years, you and I talked a lot about how the pandemic, what the impact of the pandemic has been on different nonprofits, and how the need for funding was so great because the need for the work they did was so great because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
What's What are you seeing now? How has that changed in the past year?
So the pandemic for a lot of organizations really shined a light on two things. It shined a light on the resilience of nonprofit organizations and how nonprofits have been able to be nimble, how nonprofits have been able to be creative, and in some cases opportunistic, to help build and sustain their work during the pandemic. On the flip side of that, the pandemic has shined some light in some inequities and in some areas of focus that nonprofits should probably be thinking about as they're planning and they're going forward in the future. I think there have been a lot of great learnings that have happened during the pandemic, but also at the same time, there's been a lot of opportunity and a lot of change that's taken place. And so the big question is, as we eventually move out of kind of pandemic mode, that we begin the conversations of what really worked and what mechanisms were out there to improve nonprofit organizations during the pandemic. And will organizations, nonprofits double down on that work, or will they revert back to where they were pre-pandemic?
That is interesting. And I'm sure there's a spectrum of different answers
There
to
really
that.
is a lot of stories, a lot of different stories, wide-ranging stories for everyone. Absolutely.
Absolutely, I'm sure. So, our partnership, I think we launched this in 2020. So we've been doing it this is the third year.
Yep.
And, for us, our goals, Milwaukee Magazine's goals with Give Back Milwaukee are to amplify the messages of nonprofits and in this time of giving, inspire our viewers and our readers to give back. Tell us how the partnership works for WPN.
Well, for us, one of the key tenets of the strategic focus of our organization is to promote a culture of philanthropy in Wisconsin. And so this partnership that we have with Milwaukee Magazine really fits well for us because it demonstrates and communicates to the community at large the importance of giving back, that culture of philanthropy, that culture of recognizing that resources, both time and financial, can help to raise up nonprofit organizations, can help to celebrate good work, and gives people an opportunity to understand how they can do it, how they can give, how they can partner, how they can help. Oftentimes, there are many individuals out here that know they want to do something, not sure where they want to start, and they need a spark and they need a piece of inspiration to help them narrow their thoughts and understand where their resources can go. And so this give back issue and this months of work helps to crystallize that opportunity and that information that an end user can look at and say, oh, maybe I need to learn a little bit more about that organization, and maybe that organization aligns with me and who I am and who my family is, or my own personal experience. Let me think about making a contribution to that organization.
Yeah, very well put. I like to think of it of giving as a habit that some people were raised in families where giving was just something that the family did, and other people have to develop that for themselves. But if you, for instance, starting right now, just add it to your holiday things to do, that each year you set aside whatever amount of money makes sense for you and choose an organization. I think that starts to build that idea that this is something that you do as part of your life, your financial life.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, we can never underestimate that idea around the importance of information. People are, becoming a little bit more discerning with where they make their investments and how they make their investments and what is the real impact of the investment that they're making. And so opportunities like this to share information, for the nonprofits that you're partnering with to create a narrative and tell a story about the impact and the work that they're doing, all goes to the greater good of helping people understand where their impact can go. And that's an important component of the work, for sure.
Yeah. And, I look forward to this every year, not only because I get to talk to you, which is always wonderful, but I get to hear the stories of all of these different organizations. And certainly all of them are so deserving. It's a hard decision, I'm sure, to make to figure out who you're going to give to, but it's also a worthwhile endeavor to really put your time and effort into learning about who's helping our community in what way and what resonates particularly with you as an individual. So I'm really excited to get going on this
Yeah,
year's
really
Give
excited
Back.
about it. Really excited to hear the great stories that are going to be told over the next several weeks. I'm really excited to partner, and we're also going to be sharing information about this with our members. And so a wealth of philanthropic organizations will also hear some of these stories and learn about things that are happening in the community. And that has to be nothing less than a win-win for everyone within the community.
I agree. So Tony, as much as I'd like to continue talking with you, I think that you and I should wrap it up, and I should get started talking to the
There's stories to be
organization.
told. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Tony Shields, and thank you, Wisconsin Philanthropy Network, for supporting this effort. And I will see you again next year. And viewers, we will get going with Give Back Milwaukee.
Thanks, Carol.
So now I would like to introduce Dr. Tracy Terrell from Shepherd's College. Good afternoon, Dr. Terrell.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm really looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what you do at Shepherd's College. Can you give us some background?
Sure. Shepherd's College, we're located down in Union Grove, so Racine County, and a specialized school for young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's a 3-year program, an accredited program, and where we try to impact the individual's lives, every facet of the individual's lives, their social development, their life skill development, helping them prepare for employment, so an occupational training. We're also a faith-based school, so there's a spiritual component to our program. It's a real interesting place. We are the only accredited school that we're aware of that serves this specific population. And we're also the largest in the country that serves this population of a school or a program on a post-secondary level. So it's I've been here since 2008. That's the year the school started. We started with 6 students, and this year we opened with 86 students. So very small for a college, of course, but at the same time, like I said, the largest that's serving this population specifically. And to watch this organization grow, this school grow through the last 15 years, and see all the lives that have been impacted in really significant ways has been a real pleasure and an honor to be part of.
And I understand that it's a residential college.
It is. So most of our students live on campus, and that allows us to then serve students who aren't just from this area. While Wisconsin is the highest represented in our student body, the most represented in our student body. Through the years, we've served students from 36 different states. And so they come from across the country to attend Shepherd's College. And I think a lot of that has to do with the uniqueness of our program and things that are available to them here that just aren't available to them anywhere else, as far as the training and the life development, life change.
I'm curious, who is a good candidate as a student for Shepherd's College?
Well, it'd be a young person who, they've in school, they've probably been in special education. They've had an IEP in school. Sometimes some of our students have been homeschooled, but a young person who, is through school has been identified as having some learning challenges, having intellectual disability or developmental disability. Somebody who aspires, though, to go to school and have a post-secondary experience like their siblings have done. That's often what drives our students. They want to go to college like their brother or sister have done. And this gives them an opportunity to do that. And what we try to create on this campus is an atmosphere that replicates what traditional college would look like. It's different because of the students we serve. It's different in many ways. Support services are elevated from what you're going to see on any other college campus. But we have our own Special Olympics agency, so there's an athletic component to our campus, and we have a mascot and that sort of thing, and sell the sweatshirts in our school store that are Shepherd's College branded. Having all that because it's real important to them. They want that opportunity. So that the young person who has some challenges with regards to learning and life skill development, but at the same time, they really desire this. They want to aspire and make something of their lives. I think the problem we're trying to address is that these young people, we think, have so much more potential then what they're given specific training to fulfill, and then opportunity to use that training and fulfill that potential. And so we're trying to eliminate the first of those two challenges and provide them the training that they need to make the most of their life and fulfill their potential, and then help them find opportunities to do so once they leave Shepherd's College.
And I understand that the school has a great record for job placement.
We do. We're really thrilled with how that's played out through the years. Depending on the national study you look at, most would say that this people group that we serve are employed at about 20%. And 20% oftentimes includes those who are still working at a sub-minimum wage. So they're working in what we used to call a sheltered workshop setting, where they're getting paid much below minimum wage. And so our graduates are employed at over 80%, and that's gainful employment, so minimum wage or higher. So I'd like to say we've completely flipped that statistic. Instead of 80% being unemployed and 20% employed even in sub-minimum wage settings, ours are employed at over 80%. So we invest hundreds of hours during their time that they're with us with specific training in horticulture or culinary arts or technology. And then we help them that during their third year, they do what we call occupational experiences, where they're getting real life experience working for a potential employer. So partners around the area who will take on our student, give them an opportunity to learn and grow in an internship-like setting. And then those skills and that real life experience, plus what they've learned here on our campus, that translates into them being a person that brings something to a workforce, and an employer wants to give them the opportunity and hire them, give them a chance. So it's really exciting to see how meaningful that is to them. It certainly makes their life more fulfilling when they can find employment like that.
That's incredible. So when a person makes a donation to Shepherd's College, how are the funds used?
There's a couple of real important ways that donors can help us. One is through a scholarship fund. So we have an annual scholarship fund that helps students who otherwise can't afford to attend Shepherd's College. We're a private institution, it's private pay. Some of them do access different dollars through different programs depending on what state they're from. But Shepherd's College is an expensive thing for us to offer. It's very staff intensive. We currently have more staff than students, because it's not just what happens on the typical school day, 9 to 3 for us, but what happens after school in the student life areas is as important as what happens during the school day. And so it's in some cases there's 24-hour supervision on our campus. So real staff intensive. So it's an expensive thing to offer, expensive thing for families, but we don't want money to be an obstacle. And our scholarship fund is an incredible way to impact a young person's life and help them have this experience that very much changes their life. They are different people when they leave here than who they are when they came in, and it's a chance for donors to contribute to that life change in our students. So contributing to our scholarship fund. And then we're real close to launching a campaign that will increase our student safety and security on our campus. And so there's a number of things we've already implemented that we're doing in that vein. And being here in Union Grove, kind of a remote rural area, there's a sense of safety and security here that comes with that, and we appreciate that. But we're doing things to secure our facilities, gated campus, that type of thing. But then beyond that, something that will be quite an expensive endeavor that we're taking on is to take our residential rooms and create many one-person bedrooms as opposed to shared bedrooms for our students. And so that's a lot of renovation in our facilities, but one that we feel compelled to do because it'll just add an extra layer of safety and security for each of our students, and something that the parents would really value in knowing that their son or daughter has that safety and security when they're here being housed on our campus.
Could you tell us your web address so that people can make a donation or just find out more information?
shepherdscollege.edu. So Shepherd's College, Shepherd sometimes is spelled differently. So for us, it's SHEPHERDS and then college and .edu. And so that's a place where donors could go. There will be a donate button there available to them, and they can fill out either a one-time gift or set up for recurring regular gifts. And one last thing that I'd like to share is that we also have now Shepherd's College Online, which has been a neat thing that has come about out of COVID. So when we like everybody else, send our students home to do virtual learning, and we found ways to make that work with the students that we work with. And so that that has prompted us to now put some lessons together online through Shepherd's College Online, and it's available to non-students. So we've got people, hundreds of people across the country now who are accessing some of our courses virtually, and that website is online. So type out online.shepherdscollege.edu, and that would take an individual there, whether that's somebody who just wants to see, evidence of some of our work for themselves, or if it's a family with a young person who has special needs, who would like to look into what's it take to take some of those courses and enroll in those. It's not part of our accredited program to date. We hope to get there eventually, but it's a great way for somebody to get a taste of Shepherd's College and to learn and grow in their life skill development and that sort of thing. So excited to offer that to everybody as well.
Well, very good, Dr. Terrell. I think it's an amazing organization. Keep up the good work. And viewers, please donate generously and help support the work that Shepherd's College does. Have a very good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
So I'm thrilled to have Feeding America with us today. And here to talk about Feeding America are Mark and Sarah Toscher. Hello, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy you took the time to talk with us today. Mark, I think a lot of our viewers will know you as a former pro football player. You played.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pickleball, because I've been kind of really climbing the pickleball ladder. I thought that's where you were going to go, but Packers will work too.
Well, pickleball, Packers, I don't know. They're both very important. It's good to play a sport.
That is true.
I'd like to start by asking you how you got involved with Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, one of Tony Cartagena is someone that worked on our radio show for a long time, and we have a great relationship with Tony, and he brought this to us. And the other reason, Sarah and I have two children, and we love to travel. We love to go to different places, and we finished dinner one night and we had a great meal. Everybody was full and walking home, and we saw a lot of folks that were asking for food. And Max just asked us, he was really curious how this all happens and what, he did not like to see how that was playing out. So he asked us a bunch of questions, and as a family we discussed, and he said, I really want to get involved so that we can help people that need food. So we, have done some different things at local pantries around Madison. And then when the Feeding America initiative is out, and with it being the holidays, we thought, boy, what a perfect way to get not only Sarah and myself involved, but also our family, and to have, Max being able to come down here and help box up goods and to really get his hands into it. We're really excited about this opportunity.
And it's such a wonderful organization that is doing so much for so many people across Wisconsin. And so we're really excited to partner with them and bring some joy to people for the holidays.
I think it's such a great cause, and that's such a great point that you can get involved as a family in a cause like this. I think that's very wonderful. And I know one of the stats that I looked at prior to our conversation is that 1 in 7 people in Wisconsin have hunger issues. That's just so sad in a world as affluent as ours.
Yeah, and I think the part that's interesting is you see that and you wonder. I think people want to help, people want to get involved, but it's just so big. It's like, well, what can we do to do that? And that's why Feeding America is it's right here, and you can get your hands in it. Whether or not you can donate money, donate time, donate goods, it gives you that opportunity to do all of that. And I think it's so easy to kind of say, well, I don't even know where to start. Well, now we know where to start. And that's what I think is so cool about this organization.
And it's so impressive. For every $1 donated, they're able to provide 4 meals to people in the local community, which is just impressive and incredible.
It is. I mean, that's astounding. $1, 4 meals. I mean, who among us cannot spare $1 to help out a good cause? And volunteers, I understand that you use 30,000 hours of volunteers per year. That's all. That means you need a lot of help.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were down here, and there is one guy that has done this for the last 5 years. He's been in here at least 3 days a week, and you just see the amount of passion that the people that have come down here, because when you load this stuff up that you're doing something to help people. And it's really inspiring to see that people are donating and putting so much into helping other people. I think a lot of times you can lose sight of that until you really get down here and get your hands into it.
And I think it's so impressive that a lot of it, and almost all of it, stays local, which is impressive.
Very much so. Now, Mark, I understand that you grew up on a farm, so you have a particular connection to food and the food chain.
Yeah, well, I mean, dairy farming is obviously a critical part to what this state's economy, and I grew up on a farm, and there's, when I speak and go talk to people, I'll always say the foundation for me being a professional athlete started on a dairy farm. And it wasn't just playing football out in the back 40, or it was getting up and making sure you had jobs that had to get done in order to put food on your table. And so for me, it's very personal in the fact that sitting around when we'd get done working for a day and just having a family supper, that was kind of our time to really celebrate each other. And I think, especially around the holidays, food and sitting around with your family, whether it's watching a Detroit Lions football game or getting in after you open presents, it's something that you want to be able to have for everybody. And I think that's another one of the really cool things about this organization.
Absolutely. Well, if people want to get involved, and I hope they will, is there a URL you can share with them?
Yeah, so people can register both to volunteer and to donate at feedingamericawi.org.
Great, feedingamericawi.org.
Yeah.
I hope everyone will reach into their pockets and help support this cause. And I thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Carol.
And now I'd like to welcome Maggie Tate-Techman from HAWS. Welcome, Maggie.
So wonderful to be here. Thanks, Carol.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. And HAWS is one of my favorite organizations. I love animals, and I know you do so much good work to take care of the animals in our community. So can you tell our viewers just a little bit about what all HAWS does?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So HAWS is an open admission, no kill shelter. And really, we are dedicated to strengthening the relationship between humans and animals, and really the community at large and animals, and really growing our humane community. We have very traditional sheltering services, so individuals can come to us to adopt their new best friend. But in addition to that, we have a variety of services that really support the community through education of both youth and adults and pets, as well as support through clinic services and things like that to help individuals on a wide spectrum of resource availability in the community.
Yeah, I know there's so much that you do, and I want to try to get to all of it, but let's start just by talking a little bit about the importance of a no-kill shelter.
Yeah, absolutely. So HAWS is both open admission and no kill. So what that really means is that HAWS accepts animals regardless of their health, their breed, or their temperament. So certainly we have many very happy, easy animals that come through our doors, and that's wonderful. But we also are really proud to support animals that come to us with higher needs, whether it's a behavioral need or a medical need. And we, in order to get those animals back into the community and into a home, we need to have really strong programs in place to support them through our behavior department and our medical services. So while we are fortunate that there are many no-kill shelters in our area, really being both open admission and no-kill makes HAWS a unique entity in our community.
And just to clarify, because I find this fascinating too, open admission means open to any type of animal.
Yes, this is true. That's we have seen donkeys. We've had a monkey before. We've had chickens and roosters and a wide variety of animals come through our doors. Absolutely.
That's incredible. And, I can just imagine the resources it takes to be prepared to take everything from a kitten to a donkey. I mean, that's a wide spectrum.
Yes, especially because sometimes we know what the day is going to look like, but more often than not, we don't know what the day is going to look like. And given our emergency responder status in the community and primarily within Waukesha County, the phone could ring at any moment, and it could be a situation where, there are 20 plus cats that need to come to us, or, any kind of situation you could imagine, really. And we don't know that when we start our day. So yes, we are always prepared to support pets and people in need.
And as you mentioned, HAWS does a lot of education and support for people once they have their animals or if they're getting ready to adopt an animal. And something new that you're doing is a canine task force. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, absolutely. So we've had a very strong behavior department here at HAWS for probably about a decade, where we are supporting animals both in our walls and then once they go into their forever home, because we really want to make sure that pets stay with their people. But since the pandemic has kind of moved through, we've noticed, and this is actually, we are not alone, there is an alarming rate across the country of animals staying longer awaiting their homes in shelters. And we really wanted to ensure that we were offering these animals as they awaited their forever home, a very high quality of life and enrichment opportunities. So we actually banded together as an entire organization, and every department touches our canine task force, and we are designing unique to the animal field trip opportunities and really one-on-one behavior consultations in the shelter, as well as when they move into their forever home. Enrichment opportunities. And that's been a really wonderful way for us to engage with some of our corporate partners and volunteers to come in and help us with enrichment. And really, we're able to kind of customize a plan for these dogs, particularly as they're waiting for their forever home. Because again, we've just seen nationally an increase in animals that would be coming and going through the shelter much faster are staying much longer right now. And it's our responsibility to ensure that their time with us is lovely.
That's interesting. Do you know why that is, that the animals are staying longer?
I don't know that any of us really truly know why. I think, it has a little bit to do, I think, with, I think some of the theories are related to the fact that so many people adopted in the pandemic, and that wasn't that long ago. So now no one is in a spot where they're looking, or less people are in a spot where they're looking to add an animal to their pack. So, but I also think too, so many people have returned to work, or they have, or they've returned to working out of the house and they're gone more, and, events have started again, and all of those things are lovely. But then, there's an animal that is at home, and maybe there's some behavioral issues. And so people aren't necessarily wanting to add another animal at this point in time. We're also seeing the animals that come to us just have higher behavioral needs across the board. There's a term that I think a lot of people are familiar with of pandemic puppy. And we are finding that is not limited to a puppy, to a traditional puppy. That is just pandemic animals. I have a 5-year-old animal at home, and he was not a puppy in the pandemic. And we even see some behavioral things with him we didn't see prior. So it's an interesting thing that I think, our lives impact our animals in profound ways. And I think when we go through a transition like this, we see some of that.
That makes sense. Well, I'd like to urge our viewers to donate to HAWS. And so tell us a little bit about where the money goes when someone makes a donation.
Yeah, absolutely. So a donation at any level that is meaningful to someone makes a huge impact. We do hundreds and hundreds of loads of laundry here a week. So something as simple as, a $10 donation goes to support laundry, up to, we are transporting animals from around the country from areas that are not as well resourced as our community is when it comes to animal sheltering. And, donations can help us bring those animals here. There really is a wide variety, specifically with our canine task force. It really helps our volunteers to support these animals, as well as our trained behaviorists to get these animals out into the community and really spend the time and the resources to give these animals an individualized plan.
Mm. And you do need volunteers as well, correct?
Always, yes. We love volunteers. We could not run without our volunteers. This is a building that is full of activity all of the time, and we are always looking for incredible volunteers to join us. From any variety of tasks. We have office tasks that need to be done. We have, which is not as fun, in my opinion, as cuddling a cat or walking a dog. Or playing with a small animal, but we have a very wide varieties of opportunities for individuals, for families, for corporate groups to get involved and help us share some of their time and talent.
Well, that's a lot of information, and you're doing terrific work at HAWS. Tell our viewers how they can find out more information. What's your web address?
Yeah, absolutely. So individuals can visit www.hawspets.org for more information. And there's information about getting involved with our donation process, as well as getting involved with volunteering, as well as, maybe looking at bringing home a new best friend this holiday season.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being with us, Maggie. And viewers, please donate to HAWS. It's a very, very worthy cause, and they'll make very good use with your donations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
So I'm excited to have Lynn Hildebrand from The Gathering with me now. And Lynn is here, and she'll tell us all about the many different things The Gathering does. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Great. How about you?
I'm very good. And thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
So, yes, let's start out by just an overview of The Gathering.
Sure. So The Gathering's been around since 1982. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary, and we provide meals and associated services, as we call it, to anybody who comes to our doors. We have no intake process. We ask no questions. Whoever comes to one of our meal sites gets to eat. We provide all of our meals are cooked fresh on site. So nothing is packaged and warmed back up. It's all freshly made on-site meals. And we have 4 locations across the city of Milwaukee. We serve breakfast Monday through Fridays at Running Rebels on 13th and Fond du Lac, and lunches on Saturdays there. And we're at Ascension Lutheran Church on the south side, where we serve dinner on Monday and Wednesday nights and lunches on Saturdays. And then we're our Next Generation on 34th and Lisbon, where we provide lunches on Saturdays as well as meals to their after-school kids. And then at Mount Carmel Lutheran on the far west side, we serve lunches on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays there. So we do a lot of food prep and partnering with the Hunger Task Force and Feed America to get most of our food. And we just, we try to treat all of our meal guests with respect and dignity. We really pride ourselves on that we're making sure folks feel welcome and included and engaged with who we are and what we're doing, because oftentimes folks who live on the streets aren't treated very kindly, and we make sure people are treated very kindly when they come to our sites.
I think that's one of the most interesting and heartwarming aspects of what The Gathering does, that it's more than just a meal. It's the experience and making your guests feel welcome. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think it's deep in we were founded by the Episcopal Church, so it's, religious founded, but we're our own 501c3 now. But, oftentimes when people are homeless and living on the streets, nobody makes eye contact with them, right? People look right past them like they're not even standing there. And we make a giant effort to make sure that everybody who comes to our doors is greeted and treated with kindness, like they're coming into our homes. That's our philosophy, and we pride ourselves on that, because I know how I feel. Somebody just looks right past me, I'm walking down the street, so I can just imagine how other folks, may be feeling slighted and not really looked at as a full human being, when in fact our folks are entirely as human as you and I. So we really make sure that people feel like they're welcome at our meal sites.
That's very beautiful. And then I think we all know that feeling of all of our meals are more than just nutritional sustenance. I mean, it's, whether you're going to a restaurant, the experience there is so important to what you go away with, but also if you're sitting at home with your family, it's the conversation, and it is that feeling of of feeling at home and feeling welcomed. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that that means a lot to your guests.
I think so too, because sometimes we're the only person that may speak to them all day long or give them a friendly hello. So it's really, really important that we, keep doing that because the golden rule, I really believe in the golden rule. Do it unto others as they do unto you. And so we make sure that everyone is really welcome.
Very, very nice. Now, it must take a huge number of volunteers to serve all those meals.
Most definitely, because our staff is very slim. We have 9 staff people, 3 of us are full-time, the rest are part-time, and we rely heavily upon volunteers. Normally about 1,500 volunteers work with us each and every year. And right now, it's a little bit of a struggle getting volunteers because we still have all the impacts of COVID-19. Our numbers have not really gone down. We still serve as many folks. It's a lot more work on the staff. And 4 volunteers who've been with us since the beginning of the pandemic who are still with us, serving meals. But volunteers are the lifeblood of the gathering. If you can imagine just 9 of us serving 60,000 meals a year, it's next to impossible. So we really rely heavily upon volunteers. Like 90% of our work is done by volunteers.
I want to tell people how they can get involved, but before we go there, I also understand that you provide toiletries and other things that especially homeless people might need. Can you tell me about that program?
Sure. We provide whatever we can. Everything we get is donated to us. We can donate back to other folks. So a lot of companies do toiletry drives for us where they're going to, little shampoo bottles and wipes and, whatever you can think of to put into a bag that somebody might need, that you might need if you go out somewhere. We provide coats and mittens and gloves, especially this time of year. So a lot of folks do drives for that as well for us. And whatever we can get for free, we'll pass out on to our meal guests because it's really important that they have some things, blankets, winter's coming, right? Even though it's beautiful out right now, winter's upon us, and before you know what, the snow will be blowing. So we try to make sure we can give more than just meals. We also provide housing assistance through the city of Milwaukee, and Hunger Task Force comes out to help with SNAP, and Feed America comes out to do some stuff for us. So we partner all over the place so we can do what we need to do and give as much as we can to our meal guests.
That's just such a needed service that you provide.
Yeah.
If people want to make donations to the gathering, where does their money go?
Oh, their money goes to help us do what we need to do. If our budget is not very large, it's like $560,000 a year, and we have like 9 staff. The bulk of our money goes to help run what we're doing. We have 4 locations. We pay rent everywhere. We have an office where we pay rent to. So people don't like to hear that kind of stuff, but that's the fact of running a business. Our food, we purchase food and food supplies. We're doing lots of purchase of clamshells, 3 compartment clamshells, because we're doing grab and go meals still because of the lack of volunteers that we have. We also write lots of bottled water. It's blowing our budget off the hook right now because we have to buy so many clamshells and bottled water, but we're able to provide hot home cooked meals with those clamshells. So we go through probably, depending on what day of the week it is, between 300 and 500 clamshells a day. So it's really a really needed item that we have here, but whatever you give us, we put to really good use. We stretch the dollars like you cannot believe. I've not worked at a place where we make our dollars go so far. And I'm pretty good at asking for things because I'm looking out for my meal guests and not for me. So it's really easy to go out there and ask people for things that we need because it's such essential and basic need of a service we provide here at the gathering. And it's just never ending, but I really love it. It makes you feel good every day. Your meal guests are so thankful. I feel I get blessed every day, and I'm thanked profusely every day. So folks really appreciate what they're providing or what we're providing them with. So it's a very selfish job because I feel good every single day.
As you should. And I think we've already sort of made it clear that the need is there for volunteers, but do you want to just talk a little bit about what types of things volunteers do when they sign up for the gathering?
Yes, indeed. So right now, because we're doing grab and go meals, the bulk of the work is done by preparing the bags and the clamshells with to-go items. Right now, oftentimes volunteers are helping us with unloading donations and sorting donations and doing inventory for us. But we're looking forward to the time where we can have sit-down dining once again in our meal sites, because that's where the fellowship takes place. That's where you hear all the heartfelt stories from your meal guests. Everybody wants to share with you. Meal guests and volunteers alike just have really cool conversations. And right now the grab and go is harder to have the conversations, but we're outside chatting with folks and the line while they're waiting in line. You know, when it comes to the window, we try to chat and people ask us for what they need. When we go back to dine-in services, so right now we need about 8 volunteers. When we do dine-in, we need slow down, Lynn, between 12 and 15 volunteers because it's like a restaurant, right? Folks come in, they go through a line, they get their meal, they sit down, we serve them beverages and desserts and have conversation. Real often the meal guests want you to come and sit and talk with them. So anybody who comes has a fantastic experience. All I do is hear positive feedback from volunteers because of the conversations they've had with the meal guests, of how they feel being able to give back the way we give back. And just the camaraderie and the atmosphere is really positive. And we always have music in the background because you need to have something to keep you going some days. But the experiences are they really do fill your heart with joy. And you know, you realize how privileged and blessed you are as a person that could actually volunteer to help somebody who doesn't have what you have. And we're finding out we're working a lot more with, I'm going to call them like the working poor, as opposed to just homeless folks, because we have people, especially at our morning breakfast program, gentlemen stopping by on their way to work to get a hot meal to go. People getting off third shift, getting a hot meal to go. So, I mean, we're filling a big giant void right now, and food insecurity is a huge, huge issue, and things are not going to get any better as time goes on because of the constant shortages. And you think about the things that have happened around the world these days, that extra food is hard to come by. So we really, you know, our meal guests and our volunteers together really, it's fun. It's really fun.
Yes.
And high energy and active, and you won't regret volunteering. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it sounds like volunteers get back as much as they give. Tell us the web address so people can get more information, find out how to donate, find out how to volunteer.
Yes, indeed. Our website is, of course, www.thegatheringwis.org. And everything you need to know about volunteering and how to volunteer, you can sign up right on the website. And if you have questions, you can always call the office at 442-772-4122. And my extension is 1001. I'm in the office the most. I tell people my extension all the time.
Well, you can call Lynn directly and find out everything you need to know, but you could probably find that from the website too. Yes. Lynn, thank you so much for being with us today. And I urge the viewers to get involved with the gathering.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time as well.
My next guest is Steve Merritt, Divisional Commander with the Salvation Army. Welcome, Steve.
Yes, thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's good to be here with you. You know, this time of year, we all see the Salvation Army in action more than ever. Tell us about the Red Kettle campaign.
Yeah, the Red Kettle campaign started a number of years ago, started in around, I believe it was 1880 out in San Francisco. The Salvation Army individual was collecting funds in a pot on the docks where the ships came in, collecting money just to provide a meal. That's morphed into this Red Kettle campaign that we use across the country. It really is a time for us to be out public, be in the community. You see the kettles, hear the bells. It really has become just an annual event, the Red Kettle campaign for the Salvation Army.
It really is. And, you know, you see them when you travel to different cities, you see them here in Milwaukee, and sometimes you see that each bell ringer has their own style.
Yeah, you be very interesting what we find on the Red Kettle. Everybody has their own style, their own personality that comes with it. Some wear costumes, some are out there singing, some are playing music. It's an individual thing, but it's a wonderful opportunity to come out, be part of the community, have an opportunity to raise dollars that will make an impact at this Christmas season and into the coming year. But you are correct, Carol. Everybody does it a little differently. And it's really just that opportunity to come together and have fun, making an impact in the community.
And these are all volunteers?
We pay some individuals to stand on the kettles. We have found certainly that if the kettle was out, there was not anybody standing there, becomes detrimental to the fundraising effort. And so there are individuals that we pay to give them a seasonal employment that stand at the kettle, but the majority of our kettle sites are manned by volunteers. Again, you understand the volunteerism and the opportunity that that has to support the Salvation Army in two ways. One, it relieves having a paid worker at that site. Secondly, volunteers do a great job in raising dollars through the Red Kettle. And so you're correct, there are paid ringers, but we rely mainly on volunteers to come out and be part of it.
Well, I hope our viewers will heed that call and volunteer to be a bell ringer. It looks like a lot of fun and
Yes.
just a heartwarming way to spend a few hours. Where do the funds go when someone makes a donation at a Red Kettle?
Yeah, that's a great question. All the funds stay where we're talking specifically to Milwaukee, but it's the same across the country. As you mentioned, you see the Red Kettle effort across the country. All the 100% of the funds raised in the Red Kettle campaign stay locally. They stay here in Milwaukee. The Salvation Army has annually over 80 programs that are taking place. We're providing meals, we're providing clothing, we're providing shelter right now today in Milwaukee. So the dollars that are raised through the Red Kettle campaign support those programs locally for the season and also for the coming year. So you can be assured as you come out and support the Salvation Army through the Red Kettle campaign, ringing the bell, that those dollars that you're collecting stay here in Milwaukee.
Very good. And there's also a Christmas dinner that the Salvation Army sponsors.
Yes, for the 33rd year, we have the Christmas Family Feast. It's held at the Wisconsin Center. And this will be the first time in 2 years that we will be able to come back around the table. It's a wonderful opportunity on Christmas Day to come and be a part. You can volunteer. It takes an army to be part of the Christmas Family Feast on Christmas Day. The last 2 years, we've only been able to provide meals to go. Now we're able to come back inside the Wisconsin Center to sit at a table. It's just a great community event because on Christmas Day, we don't want anyone to be alone. We don't want anyone to go without. So you can come to the Wisconsin Center, receive a meal. Not only a meal, you have an opportunity to sit down at a table with others from the community. There's music, there's programs. I believe Santa will make an appearance. There's toys for the kids, but it's just a wonderful day on Christmas Day to be able to come and be part of the community.
Oh, it sounds really wonderful. Steve, what is your web address so people can find out more?
Sure. Everything you need to know about volunteering for the Salvation Army, you can find at samilwaukee.org. samilwaukee.org has all the information you need. We have Coats for Kids drive going on. We have a toy shop where we will give toys away to families. We have the family Christmas feast on Christmas Day, just to name a few of the opportunities. Everything you need to come together to be part of volunteering for the Salvation Army, you can find at samilwaukee.org.
Oh, I love that. And I think that volunteering with the Salvation Army might be the best way to get into the holiday spirit. So thank you, Steve, for being with us.
Yes, thank you.